Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rockin' Review is catching up with guitarist, singer, songwriter, Reckless Johnny Wales, who has a brand new album out. Johnny, it's good to see you, but I prefer to see you in person like we did last year.
Well, I would too. I miss those days. I haven't seen anybody. I'm kind of tired of the Zoom thing. No offense. I mean, it's nice to see you Zoomly, but man, it would be much better if we were over here picking.
I totally agree. I'm looking forward to it, Johnny. I got to brag on your new album that came out, Red, White, and Reckless. And I know that you're getting a lot of success with your song Boomers, but, you know, I like some of the other songs in here, like Am I a Fool, that kind of has a jazzy feel to it, Johnny.
Yeah, I wrote that a while back with Rose Knight. I don't know if you know Rose and Denny Knight,
Yep.
but and the girl on that is Rosemary
Yeah.
Posse. She's great. She's a great singer. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for liking that. That's just kind of
the entire album, you know, and I really like the cover too, that it looks so great with you wrapped in the American flag, but you cover a lot of ground in here. And it seems like to me on it, Johnny, you kind of give a nod to your old days back in college in Boston when you were playing some of the folk music, but then you got some rockin' stuff. You've got, you know, you got some jazz, you got a little bit of everything in this album.
well, I'm a Gemini, you know, so, you know, at least we've got me to talk to. So, you know, Denise Fussell did the design on the cover. She does all the graphic work, and she's brilliant. So she's the one who came up with the idea and the whole thing.
It seems like the album is like a range of emotions, which all of us are kind of experiencing in this time, as you and I were talking about before we started the interview, to where so many of us are, you know, primarily staying at home, not getting out a lot. And I think in these times, Johnny, we all go through a number of emotions.
It's a lot of time to think. I'll tell you that. I've had some. It's one thing that's been great about it. My relationship with my kids, my two boys, is I've talked to them more in the last year than I have in the last, you know, 35 years or however old they are. You know, one of them lives here in Nashville. He's an artist. He did that, I believe, in Nashville mural. He painted that.
Oh, wow.
That's his. So he's kind of a famous painter, muralist. And the other one's out in Oregon. He's just got his PhD from Brown, and he's out there being, as he says, a scholar. But he's into music. They both went to Berklee College of Music. And I'm spending more time with them now than I probably did when they were kids because I travel so much.
Well, I got to bring this up too, Johnny, to where some people that may not know your background, but born in Boston and you started playing music in college and everything, and then you got drafted, you know, so you were in Vietnam, served in the Navy, but when you came back out, you ended up sticking around in San Francisco and recording demos at a studio there, right?
10 years, yeah. I lived in San Francisco. Started off playing on the street in small clubs, and then I was getting my money. I went to San Francisco City College on the GI Bill. And in San Francisco back in the 60s, if you lived in San Francisco, you could go to City College for free. So the GI Bill came to me. So I had $225 a month that I could live on, which I did. My apartment was $75 a month. And, you know, so I just lived a good life and played down at Fisherman's Wharf and in small clubs and had fun, and then ended up owning a small recording studio, which I had in my house or my apartment with my partner, Tom Donald, who I'd gone to college with back in Maine.
You know, in 1980, you made the leap to Music Row and ended up, you know, to where Warner Brothers plucked you, and you moved up through the ranks, became, you know, senior VP and then general manager. I want to hear this story on how you discovered Faith Hill at the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah, I was in the Bluebird Cafe, and Faith Hill was singing backup for Gary Berg, who I knew. And she was beautiful. When I met her, I said, your real name is Faith Hill. And I said, and you're really this beautiful. I said, can you sing? I mean, you know, this is like a dream come true. The rest is history. She went on to be famous, and we made a lot of money. In fact, we did really well because back in those days we had Dwight Yoakam and Travis Tritt and Randy Travis and all those
Hank
people.
Jr.
Plus, yeah, and Hank Jr. The people that were already there were Hank Jr., Crystal Gale, and Conway Twitty, who
Wow,
I love.
I wish you had some stars to work with while you were at Warner Brothers.
Well, we were hot. I'd say we were the #1 label from '85 to about '87, '88. We were by far, we had the majority. In fact, Warner Brothers Records overall at one point had 43% of the top 10 records in the country for a couple of years in a row, pop and country.
Well, and I got to bring this up too, Johnny, because I find it so amazing that, once again, after starting out as a musician, singer, songwriter, great career within Warner Brothers and helping out and nurturing so many huge artists as you have. And then in 2001, you retire, and then you go back to doing your first passion, singing, songwriting, and performing, and creating all these new albums in the past years. I think it's kind of neat how you made that full circle. And then obviously I keep up with you, and to where, when things are open, I mean, you were playing the Bluebird again.
I was in the music business, and then I got into the record business, and then I got back into the music business.
Right.
And I don't know, I really love being in the record business. That is really fun. The people are great. It's a real mind thing. Organizing, trying to get a #1 record is quite an adventure. It's like playing chess. But at the same time, and I love the marketing stuff, like coming up with ideas for, the new tradition was my idea. And that stuck. And there's a couple of things.
That worked very well.
That stuck. And we did that after we were sitting in a meeting with the staff, and it was like Randy Travis. We had just signed Randy, and someone said, well, he's traditional. But he's new. The new tradition. So that's how that came about. And things like that, hearing is believing is another one I'm proud of, because Bugs Bunny had the big ears, so my hearing is believing campaign. So that's fun to me. That I like that mind stuff. And I think that's because I'm from Boston, and that's real cerebral out there. And then I lived on the West Coast, and that's more fun. So when you combine the two, you got to have, and being a Gemini, I got to have both. I got to have the intellectual and physical. And that's why I'm back doing music, but also writing songs. And I'm just having a blast now. It's really great.
Once again, as I brought up from your record, Red, White, and Reckless, to where your Boomer song, which, I can relate to. It's like, it's been very popular, and you're getting a lot of streaming on social media and Spotify and everything with that song, Johnny.
Well, I'm glad. There's a lot of boomers out there. And we did kind of screw it up in a lot of ways, so, and my sons are both millennials, and I think they're probably the next most screwed up generation. So, between the two of us, I like the kids actually better. The younger kids now today seem really cool. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, my theory is that our viewers need to go out and either download or buy your new album, which is Red, White, and Reckless. Reckless Johnny Wales. I know it's available. You can listen through Spotify. You can go to your website and social media. Great new album. You cover a lot of ground. Maybe the next album's going to have to be on the millennials or something, Johnny.
Let me get back to you. Can we do this again when I do the next album?
Totally. Of course we can.
Okay, let's do it. But let's do it in person.
I want to make
Can we
sure
do this
that
in
our
heaven?
viewers know to get the new album, Red, White, and Reckless. Reckless Johnny Wales. Thanks for coming on the Rock and Review and catching up with us today.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too, Johnny. You take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.